Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Better Together Facebook Live. I'm Barb Roose, your host, and I am so glad that you are joining me for tonight's Better Together Live. I love that some of you are hopping right on right now, and we'll give folks a few moments to jump in. If this is your first time joining us for the Better Together Facebook Live, this is a podcast that is about the real issues for the real situations that you're facing in life. And it doesn't matter where you come from or what you've been through. What we want to do on Better Together is provide the hope, the help, as well as the practical next steps that you need, because in the end, it all makes us better together. And so if you are joining us, go ahead and say hi in the chat. I would love to hear from you. And if you are going to say hi, tell us where you're from this evening. It's been fun on the Better Together Facebook Lives, just seeing the different places where people are at. And on this Facebook page, you can find the past episodes of Better Together. We talk about friendship and legal issues. We've talked about prioritizing getting things done. And we've got upcoming episodes about how God shows up when we're not in control. I've got an episode coming up about the 5 things that husbands wish their wives knew about them. So this live podcast is a wonderful way for you to be a part of a community where we're trying to get better together, even during a pandemic. Which brings us to tonight's episode. You guys, I don't know about you, but this pandemic has really challenged me physically, which is tricky because here we are at stay at home. And even if your state has modified or relaxed stay at home, the pandemic, it had an effect on our energy, and it really had an effect on my motivation. Some of us, we've been watching a whole lot of Netflix, and our bodies have gotten out of the habit of our regular rhythm. So tonight, I wanted to invite a friend who has an incredible way of encouraging and motivating, as well as challenging us to really love our bodies as these precious this precious responsibility that God has given to us. And so I'm going to introduce my friend to you in just a moment. Right now, I want to say thank you to Debbie Dodd. She's a first-time listener from Noonan, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. Debbie, I'm glad that you are here, friends. If you want to say hi in the chat, go ahead and just tell us who you are and where you're from. If there's something you want us to pray for you about, go ahead and share that in the chat as well. Oh, we've got Karen Shockey from Noonan, Georgia. I have a feeling that some of these ladies may know our guest today. So speaking of our guest, let me go ahead and introduce you to our guest today. Friends, I want to introduce you to Vicki Heath. She is the National Director of the faith-based wellness ministry, First Place4 Health. Now, Vicki is a somewhat reluctant author. Her books are Don't Quit to Get Fit and First Place4 Health and the Wellness Journey of a Lifetime. She is also a nationally known speaker because I have heard her speak and woo, she blesses my socks off. Vicki holds certifications with the American Council on Exercise, Body and Soul Fitness, and Life Coaching. She dances, jumps, and sometimes limps her way as she leads exercise classes in her community, as well as all over the place. Vicki's passion is helping others find their way to whole person wellness. She strives to bring others into the kingdom by her example of radical but humble, devoted follower of Christ. Vicki is a pastor's wife, and she and her husband, Rob, have 4 grown children, 7 grandbabies, and they make their home on Modesto Island in South Carolina. Friends, I am excited. I want you to welcome to Better Together my friend, Vicki. Hey, Vicki, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm so excited that my Georgia girls are showing up tonight. Those Noonan girls are serious about temple care. So welcome, everybody, and I'm so glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. And so we want to say hi to Karen and Noreen, Joanne, Debbie, Linda. Ladies, thank you for jumping in. We've got Cindy from Colorado Springs. This is such a wonderful time of our lives, Vicki, to talk about what we're going to talk about this evening. But first, before we get to that, tell me about what life has been like for you and your family during the pandemic, because you've lived through it just like everyone else.
Yes, just pretty much like everyone else, trying to adjust to staying at home. And I work from home, so that part hasn't been such a challenge. But I also teach fitness classes 4 times a week, and that's no more until we can get back into our building. I won't be doing that. So this fitness instructor needs a lot of encouragement to exercise. I always tell my class, if I wasn't the teacher, I might not show up, because I know how hard it is to keep exercising and to keep moving. And so that's been a real adjustment for me to practice self-leadership in the area of fitness, to practice it and to actually practice what I teach.
I love that.
Yeah, just actually applying some of those things that I teach all the time. My husband's a pastor, so our church has not been able to meet in person. And that's been tough. I think the first thing I want to do when we get to be out and about is to gather with my flock of people, my friends, my church right here on Edisto Island. So those things have been different. It's the first time I haven't been on a plane in like 8 weeks. You probably feel the same way too, Barb, because you travel and speak a lot. So all those things are new and different, but we're managing. We're really doing okay.
Good. Well, and let's talk about how that, just the changes in our rhythm and the slowdown. And let's face it, in the early days, those early weeks of the pandemic, there was a lot of uncertainty and there was a lot of stress. And we were all just doing the best that we could. And a lot of those coping mechanisms, we got on our couch, we watched movies, we huddled up with our family. We tried to find ways to help ourselves feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. And so it was really, in some ways, it felt kind of a survival thing to just climb on the couch and huddle up with each other. And some of us are beating ourselves up for that right now. The fact that we don't want to work out. Why? And as you've been thinking about it, why has the pandemic made it so hard for us to work out?
It's really a great question. One thing has been the fear. So it's created this urgency about what's most important. And in our minds, exercise kind of went to the back burner. And which is so not true. It is so important, especially during times of stress, because the cortisol, the sedentary lifestyles that we've kind of just settled into, all of those things are going to be counterproductive for us. And I think what we don't realize is there are things that set us up to be at high risk for this virus. Heart disease, hypertension, any kind of pulmonary disorders, but another thing that we're not talking about much is obesity. That increases your chances of contracting the virus and not getting better, not getting over it quickly. And so that puts people that are obese at a high risk. And so we don't want to make that worse. As we're kind of grounded here in this something that we can't control right now. So what I've been watching and observing what's going on Facebook, social media, and it disturbs me a little bit, honestly, because what I'm seeing is people kind of think it's funny that we're going to the horizontal comforts of food and binge watching instead of the vertical comfort that we know God gives us. And we just kind of make a joke about it, like not being able to get out the door when the gym opens, blah blah blah. But if we really think about it, Barbara, it's really not funny. It's a health risk for us to become so sedentary. So I'm thinking about, I made my little quick list of 5 things that I want to tell you that will help you to get motivated, or help you just take that first step, is to decide. And do you know that thinking about getting healthy or thinking about working out is not the same as doing it?
Well, that is true. That is true. When we talk about decide, though, I think you said something deeply profound. In When the pandemic began, I'm a workout person. You and I have worked out together. I have done many of your workouts. Yeah. I love what you said, that when fear settled in and all of the other priorities settled in, working out fell to the bottom because we sensed such an urgency with everything else. I think that there is something really profound to that. While we don't want to say that this pandemic is normal, we have been living in it for enough time for us to kind of settle in and go, yep, this is the pandemic. We don't like the way that it feels, but we get how to do this now. So now that our brains aren't spinning so much, the decision process, what does that decision process look like for us? What exactly do we have to decide to do?
Well, we're starting to take that first step, and we're seeing this more and more, like, okay, I'm really going to have to stop just thinking about how important it is for me to stay healthy, and I can actually do something. So to take a step, even if it's a small step of doing something, just to get you moving about, something as simple as when you get up in the morning to stretch, to just take 5 minutes and stretch your body and breathe. And people forget about stretching and breathing. That is that's a fitness component. And so you can do it anywhere. So taking that step of actually doing something, and it might be slow at first, but at least you're going somewhere, even if it's one step.
And I love that. For me, I know that especially during the early days of the pandemic, where I was like, oh my goodness, I just made a commitment to myself. It didn't matter what I did. I just had to do something. So I may not have felt like doing my entire full workout, but I at least put on my tennis shoes and I did a shorter workout. But I love that you said just stretching. And so are you talking about just a matter of even just raising our hands above our head, which, let's be honest, if we've gotten used to being on the couch, like, forgive me, Vicki, but I'm going to just say, ladies, give yourself permission to just do it from the bed, but just start a little momentum from somewhere.
Or all of us are having these Zoom meetings, Bible study, Facebook, online church, all that. Stand up, do it standing up. And because just standing up, get some stand-up time in. Another thing that I've been doing is when I get up in the morning, I put my workout clothes on. Now, I can't go and teach my class, but I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity that I have. As I'm folding the clothes, as I'm putting the pots and pans away, I'm doing squats, I'm doing some lunges, because it all adds up and it's cumulative, and it will make you feel better and stronger. And I'm not judging you if you're right now still in your PJs from this morning. I promise you, I've had a day like that, but I've been trying to get in the right frame of mind to be able to do something physical with my body.
Wonderful. Well, before we get to number 2, we've just got ladies from everywhere joining us. We've got Franny from Sebring, Florida, Kathy here from Noonan, Georgia, Annie from Bozeman, Montana, Amanda Missler, she's from my area. She says she still works out every day, but nutrition hasn't been good. Now, I do want to brag on Amanda. She has 5 kids. And she's got littles, very, very littles, diapers, multiple in diapers. And she has remained committed to doing her daily workout with those 5 kids at home. Cindy, she's been making 300 masks. Woo! Bless it. We've got Cindy. We've got Noreen. She said things have to be important. Another Kathy from Noonan, Georgia. Nancy Smith said that's what she'll do. She'll get up and she'll put her workout clothes on. I love that. Well, so number 1 is to make a decision. And so then what is number 2 then on the list of the 5 easy ways to get moving again?
Just to avoid the twos. Too much, too soon, too fast. Especially if it's 40 days in now and you haven't been doing anything and you want to get right back, you're not going to be able to go right back. So that you may have been working out with 8 or 10 pound weights, you're going to have to drop down to a lighter weight. And so avoid the twos, because you don't want to get started and then sabotage yourself with an injury. So just remember, everything in moderation. Start slow, and it all counts. The stretching, the walking, the standing up, the sitting down, it all counts. So avoid the twos for sure.
I love that, to avoid the twos, because we have this idea that we should be able to just jump right back in, and we're trying to match some standard in our mind or somebody else's standard of what a workout should look like. When if you've been completely sedentary, it may be just walking for 15 to 20 minutes. You don't have to walk for an hour. Like you said, it all counts. So that's good. If you are listening today, my guest is Vicki Heath. She is a certified fitness instructor and the national director of First Place4 Health. Vicki, what is the 3rd suggestion for how we can get moving again?
Try something different that you didn't do before. And I know this is to me the funnest part. There's so many opportunities. There's so many YouTube videos that you try something different. So I tried Irish river dancing. So, I thought, I can try that. I'm just going to learn like 3 steps. And it was so fun. And I did my little back foot behind my foot, and I was just doing it, but you have to stand up really straight and engage your core. So I would just try something different. There's everything you could possibly find on YouTube. I would say just be careful and work at your level, and don't try to keep up with an elite athlete instructor who might be doing something, but just keep that in perspective to try something, maybe boxing with a pillow. Just try something different that's outside your box, because you have opportunity to right now. You can find something and just see what that feels like. Maybe some hip hop.
I love that. Well, and speaking of trying things that are different, for many people, their regular exercise classes are canceled, and they've been trying to figure out exactly what to do. And so tell us, I'm putting up bodyandsoul.org. Talk to us about Body and Soul, especially for those of us who want to have a faith-based workout.
The music makes all the difference to me. And I've been teaching Body and Soul fitness for 26 years. It's been my go-to. And there's all kinds of programming, strength training, flexibility training, kind of a boot camp interval training style, dance blast, any kind of workout you want. And so you can just go to this website and you can sign up for on demand, whatever you want, any workout you want, any time of the day or night. And the first week is free. So you can check it out. And there's lots of others going around social media right now. But I do love that Body and Soul Fitness has kingdom purpose. And part of the mission is to expand and spread the gospel through faith connected to fitness. So, that's kind of my go-to, my best workout. It's safe and fun always.
Beautiful. Well, and there are some ladies who are in the comments are talking about how they have started to keep moving. Karen says she walks around her yard and she looks at the new growth and she thanks God for his beauty. That's lovely. And Nancy Smith, who makes the masks, she said the first 3 weeks she sat. She literally couldn't walk without help. But then she got up, she started making masks, and that made her get up and down again. And then she started walking 2 miles every day. And today she got a new Slim cycle. Good for you, Nancy. That is awesome. Oh, that's so good. Well, what is suggestion number 4, Vicki?
And I love that she's exercising with a purpose. So I love that. I mean, prayer walking. I do prayer biking because I can ride my bike now through my neighborhood. But if you haven't been working out and you start again, you're going to feel some discomfort. So I always say focus on the benefit and not the pain, because there will be some pain when you get ready. When you go back to working out, you haven't done anything in weeks and weeks. Your knees are going to be talking to you, and your quads and your hip flexors. So it's important that you know the difference between good pain and bad pain. So a muscle.
And what is the difference between good pain and bad pain?
So good pain would be like a soreness, your muscles working, and it's not causing you to stop. But a bad pain would be like a sharp pain through your muscle or through a joint. That's when you know you need to back down. You don't necessarily have to stop, or don't do whatever that is that's causing that kind of acute pain. So as the more you work out, the more you're going to know, because we have to become students of our own bodies. And I can always tell when I've pushed it too far, I'm like, okay, that I'm pushing that past a threshold that I don't need to, because we certainly don't want to set ourselves up for an injury. But in October, I had my knee replaced, my right knee, and I had to meet with my physical terrorist. That's what I called him. 3 times a week.
Physical terrorist. That is hysterical. Yeah. Are there any physical therapists who are listening who've heard themselves called that before?
Oh my gosh. He was so adorable, but it was so painful, Barb. And he kept telling me, what are you going to be able to do when you get this knee 100%? And I said, stairs and my bicycle. So when we focus on that benefit, that will make all the difference, because there will be some discomfort. And I just wanted to be able to push past that and gain the strength, because there's going to be some discomfort, and that we would govern that. We would manage it, well.
Beautiful. Now, was that number 4, or are we on number 5 now?
That was number 4.
That was number 4. Okay. Yeah. Number 5.
So number 5 is probably the hardest one. The Bible says to make every effort. And it says, if you were to kind of do like a Bible search on make every effort, you're going to find that we are to make an effort toward a lot of things. Godly living, make every effort to keep peace with our brothers. I mean, so many things that are requiring effort. And for us to get healthy and to get back in that routine, it's going to take some effort. And we wish it didn't. I really wish that God would just make me healthy. But you know what? He doesn't brush my teeth. He could. I mean, God could do that. He could send an angel in there every night and every morning. But there are some things that I need to make an effort to do. And this getting healthy, it takes effort. But I always say it's the hardest, best work you'll ever do, because your health is so valuable. And he is worthy. He is worthy of that effort for us to be able to say, my soreness is a sacrifice, my sweat is an offering, because he is worthy. Yeah.
And I love it when you say that. Friends, for me, one of my favorite parts of working out with Vicki is at the end of each workout. Vicki, you have something that you call a sweat offering that you ask folks to do. Tell people about
being nervous.
Because there is a spiritual connection to us taking care of ourselves. I don't know about you, Vicki, but when I know that I am taking care of my body and my body feels well, it helps me to pray better because I'm focused. I am not a barrier to my communication with God. When my body feels bad, then my attention becomes inwardly focused on me, how bad I feel, how much I ache, how much I hurt. But when I am taking care of myself, then I'm able to keep my focus outward toward, okay, who is God? What is he calling me to do? And so that sweat offering, talk to us about that.
Well, it's costly. Whenever you work
Mm.
out, it costs something. It costs something to get up a little earlier. It costs something to
Yes.
get those clothes on, like some
Yes.
of those, spandex. That takes work. That's my first workout right there. Um, and sometimes if you're in front of people, you might feel embarrassed being in a group exercise when we get to go back to that, or even walking out in public. That costs something. But there's a great story in the Old Testament when King David was looking for some sacred ground where he could start building an altar and a temple. He found a piece, and this man said, who owned it, he said, "Oh, King David, you can have it." And he goes, "Oh no, I will not offer the Lord anything that costs me nothing." And so he
Mm.
paid for it. And that is what that sweat offering is. It's that equity that we've gotten up early. We've put forth that whatever it takes to get through a
Yes.
workout. And it is
Mm.
costly. It's costly for me. Every time I do it, I think, Lord, there might be a day that I can't do this, but
Mm.
today is not that day. So I'm doing it.
Mm.
I'm doing
That
it.
is beautiful.
Yeah.
And what I love, especially about First Place for Health, is that combination of understanding that spiritual connection to the physical connection. Because for many of us, there's a point at which we realize that taking care of ourselves is really truly an offering to God. So, First Place for Health has a number of Bible studies that are out there. And right now on the screen, I've got the Seek God First new 9-week study. Can you tell us about that quickly?
Oh my goodness. It's just foundational biblical principles on temple stewardship. What the Bible
Mm.
says about eating well, about exercising, and it's just excellent. So good. It's a great
And
place
I've
to start.
And I've got the link on the screen. And ladies, after the broadcast, this link will be in the comments because we want to, in this season of life, friends, this could be a place for you to plant seeds of wellness in your life, new seeds. You may have felt too busy to work out before because you had so many activities. And even as our country is starting to phase out some of the most intense parts of stay at home, our schedules are still going to be slower for the near future.
Mhm.
So I want you to go back, listen to these 5 suggestions that Vicki made, but I also want to challenge you to think and go, what are the spiritual roots that I need to establish to take care of myself? And so, Vicki, I want you to speak a final word of encouragement over the ladies about establishing those spiritual roots of wellness.
I really think it's just understanding that your body has a purpose. It has kingdom purpose and it's valuable. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I've never met anyone that has a totally perfect body. And it doesn't have to be uh, at 100% for God to use. He will use you and he loves you regardless. But that effort that I make to present my body to him as a living sacrifice is an act of worship. And when I finally got to that place where I understood that exercise and eating well, eating with purpose and not mindless eating could actually have kingdom impact, just not just for me, but for my children, for generations, and on the world. That changed things for me, and and God will bless us, and He helps. He knows how frail we are. He knows it. He knows exactly everything about us, And he says, I'm here to help you. Even in your weakness, I can make you strong.
Love that. And so Franny, she chimed in. She says our First Place group is loving the Bible study Beyond Free. They're doing that right now. And Lori Bustamante says hi. Well, ladies, what I want you to do is if you enjoyed this episode, share it with your friends. Maybe you need to watch it again yourself to listen again to the 5 suggestions that Vicki made about start moving again. Make the decision that you're going to start moving. Number 2 is to avoid the too much, or to avoid the twos, too much, too soon, too fast. Number 3, try something different. I love that one. I might do that one myself. Number 4 is focus on the benefit, not the pain. And then number 5 is to make every effort. And so share this podcast video episode with your friends. Vicki, thank you for stopping by the Better Together Facebook Live podcast and sharing the encouragement with us. All right, ladies, if you would want to check us out this Friday for the next episode, thank you for joining us tonight and have a great night.